thank you. What an honor to be with you today. April 15th. Think about what your fellow Americans have been doing the last 1 or 2 weeks at night after a long day at the office. They're sitting around their dining room table. They're taking note in measure of all they have paid in their property taxes, in their income taxes, what they owe now in the interest on taxes, the dividends that came with a small investment they may have had for their child's education, the taxes they owe on that. On this day now, they're looking forward as to, can I still afford the college education for a child? Can I still afford to expand my small business? That's what's going on all over America now. But just think a short while ago, our fellow Americans, like those of us here, went to town hall meetings to speak to elected representatives that we asked to be our voice, and they didn't listen. They shoved us away. They shut the door. They turned off our microphones, and they called us AstroTurf. Nancy Pelosi said we weren't real. We were a substitute. We didn't really have the real answer. Harry Reid called us evilmongers for showing up and expressing our disappointment for how they were spending our hard-earned money. They called us an angry mob. Well, we have a message for them. This country was founded on an angry mob, and we're taking it back. So here's the deal. It is our hard-earned money we send to Washington, D.C. What you demand from us, those of us who serve you in this building, is that we spend every dollar you send us wisely. And you place in our Constitution a restriction on our ability to spend your money. You placed a requirement in our Constitution that we balance the budget. We can't spend money we don't have. We cannot borrow money to place on the backs of your grandchildren. We spend every dollar wisely, and we balance this budget. And because that we have, while California is bankrupt, New York is bankrupt, New Jersey is bankrupt, the state of Florida has a balanced budget in the highest bond rating in the country, and we're not taking any more of your money. So, your state legislature has sent 3 messages to Washington. The first message, we want every member of our Congress from the state of Florida to sign a pledge that they are committed to a balanced budget amendment. And they're signing them, but some aren't. And I want you to go to a website, Balance Our Budget Now, and look at who has not signed a commitment to a balanced budget amendment. Secondly, we are sending them a resolution from the state of Florida, because this is important. What Glenn Beck just said, in 1789, the states, the people of the states, created the federal government. It wasn't the other way around. And so here's the point. The state of Florida is sending a resolution to Washington to call for an amendments convention of the people of this country to create a balanced budget amendment. We're not asking them, we're telling them. It's our Constitution. And number 3, your legislature is voting to put a ballot measure on this year's ballot. When you go to vote this November for your United States Senator, for our governor, there's going to be a question. And that question is because Congress likes to ignore the state legislature when we send them a message. But when we put a ballot amendment where 19 million Floridians will go to the ballot by their families, by their parents, to vote, that question is, should this country stop spending our money, putting us in debt, robbing our future of our children? Should this country have a balanced budget amendment in the Constitution, go vote yes. That's what your legislature is telling our federal government that we created it's time to do. So I leave you with just now these thoughts. We now have a debt on the back of this country that's equal to 70% of our entire gross national product. It's the highest it's been. 40% of that debt is owed to foreign countries. 40% of our debt is now going to be paid by those who do not wish us well. 35 cents on every dollar we spend in 10 years to the federal government will not go for a new road. It will not go for military defense. It will go to pay the interest on the debt. I'm telling you this. Yes! So I'm telling you this. When someone writes the history of this moment in time, they're going to look back and say, were there any Americans willing to stand up and say it was time to take back our country? Are there Americans willing to say that we will not leave our children with the greatest indebted democracy in all of human history? Will there be people who will stand and say, in this moment in time, we were not going to deprive our grandchildren for a chance at prosperity? I will not stand by silently and sell this country to foreign nations. I will not do it. You cannot do it. You can't do it. When the people come together, when the people decide it's time for change, we can compel change. We can make change. Remember what he just said on that video. Some people have called us an angry mob. Some people called us AstroTurf. Some people want to call the hardworking Americans who just believe that their Congress should not be spending their hard-earned money and indebting us for money we don't have. They call us evil mongers. But the founders that we believe in, the Constitution we hold dear, calls us by another name. And that name is We the People. It's our country. We're taking it back. Thank you.